He survived the Snyder era. He caught passes from a rotating cast of misfits. And through it all, Terry McLaurin never flinched. But now, the Commanders might be risking everything, and an insider just sounded the alarm. If you believe Terry McLaurin deserves to retire a Commander, hit that like and subscribe to Commanders HQ, your home for honest, passionate, and no BS coverage of everything Washington football. Let's break down the latest on Scary Terry's contract standoff, what NFL insiders are saying, and why this drama could soon explode into trade rumors. Let's rewind for a second. When Terry McLaurin was drafted in 2019, he walked into one of the most dysfunctional franchises in the NFL. Dan Snyder was still calling the shots, the team was still called the Redskins, and the quarterback carousel was straight chaos. Here's who was throwing McLaurin passes in his first 2 years: Alex Smith, Kyle Allen, Dwayne Haskins, Colt McCoy, Case Keenum. It was like watching a quarterback horror show. And yet, Terry delivered. Despite the chaos, Terry McLaurin is one of just 4 players in the entire NFL with over 1,000 receiving yards in each of the last 5 seasons. And 2024? That one felt different. Because for the first time, he had a real quarterback. Terry and Jayden Daniels had instant chemistry. From day one, Jayden trusted number 17. And why wouldn't he? McLaurin is the kind of route technician, leader, and security blanket every young QB dreams of having. As Daniels ascended, winning Rookie of the Year and shocking the league, McLaurin quietly played his role to perfection. So, naturally, you'd expect the team to reward that consistency, right? Wrong. Terry is currently making about $22 million per year, ranking 16th among wide receivers, well below the wide receiver 1 market. And now, he's had enough. He's skipped OTAs, he skipped mandatory minicamp, and according to multiple reports, he could sit out training camp too. NFL insider James Palmer dropped a major update this week. On Bleacher Report, Palmer revealed that despite ongoing communication between McLaurin and Dan Quinn, 0 progress has been made on an extension. They were pretty far apart in making any sort of progress, Palmer said. And McLaurin's currently getting paid less than multiple wide receiver 2s. And he's not wrong. T. Higgins, a number 2 receiver, is about to make nearly $28 million per year. Meanwhile, McLaurin, a team captain, 5-time 1,000-yard receiver, and the face of the locker room, is still sitting at $22 million. There are 7 receivers in the NFL right now making over $30 million per year, Palmer added. Terry knows he belongs in that range, and honestly, he's right. And now the frustration is real. So here's the scary part. With negotiations stalled and training camp just weeks away, trade speculation is starting to bubble. No one in Washington wants to see Terry McLaurin traded, but if this thing goes nuclear, there will be suitors. Would other teams be interested in Terry McLaurin? Absolutely, Palmer said. He checks every single box: performance, character, leadership, toughness. He's the total package. And let's be real, contenders would line up for a player like McLaurin. But the Commanders, they need to ask themselves one question. Do you really want to jeopardize Jayden Daniels' development by removing his most trusted weapon? You just spent the offseason surrounding Daniels with weapons: Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown, Michael Gallup. You traded for Laramie Tunsil to protect him. You drafted Josh Connerly Jr. and Trey Amos to round out the future, and now you're going to yank his wide receiver 1? That's not just bad business, it's self-sabotage. And let's not forget what Terry means off the field. He's been the one constant during the chaos: the locker room anchor, the media pro, the example you point to when you talk about building culture. He's not trying to reset the market, Palmer said. He just wants to be compensated fairly, and he deserves it. So why the holdup? Honestly, it's hard to say. Adam Peters has been aggressive all offseason, trading, signing, drafting, but when it comes to his top wideout, it's been radio silence. And according to Jeremy Fowler, the tone isn't optimistic. McLaurin is not happy with how the negotiations have progressed so far, Fowler said. The sides remain far apart. And just to throw more fuel on the fire, NFL Network's Adam Rank released his 2025 record predictions this week, and he has the Commanders finishing 7-10. Wait, what? This team won 12 games last year. They beat Tampa Bay and Detroit in the playoffs. They brought back their entire coaching staff. They added stars on both sides of the ball. And Rank thinks they'll crater? Commanders fans were rightfully confused. But maybe this McLaurin standoff is part of the hesitation. If you let your locker room leader walk, if you risk a Jaden Daniels sophomore slump, suddenly that 7-10 prediction doesn't seem so wild. But let's be clear, this is still a team on the rise. And the fastest way to derail it is letting this Terry McLaurin drama bleed into the season. If the name McCaffrey rings a bell, it should. Luke is the younger brother of Christian McCaffrey, the all-pro running back of the 49ers, and the son of Ed McCaffrey, a 3-time Super Bowl champion who caught passes from John Elway in Denver. But Luke's path? It's been anything but glamorous. Originally a college quarterback at Nebraska, he made the bold switch to wide receiver when he transferred to Rice, and impressed scouts with his route running, hands, and football IQ. The Commanders saw enough in him to take a flyer in the 7th round of the 2024 NFL Draft. And now, just over a year later, the kid who was once considered a long shot is starting to build real momentum. Recently, Ed McCaffrey sat down with Escapist magazine and gave us some fascinating insight into Luke's transformation this offseason. Hungry, man. He's hungry to get on the field, hungry to compete, and I can already see physically the difference in him from last year to this year. And he's very confident. That's not just a proud dad talking. That's a Super Bowl champion who knows exactly what it takes to succeed at this level. Ed raved about Luke's growth, both physically and mentally, and credited the Commander staff for pushing him to learn all 5 wide receiver positions as a rookie. That kind of ask, that's not normal for a 7th rounder. That shows trust from the coaches. That shows Luke is already ahead of schedule. One of the most interesting parts of Ed's interview came when he talked about the fit in Washington's new offense. He loves ball and he loves his team. What a blessing to play for the Commanders. Great ownership, great GM, great head coach, great receiver room. But the real gem? His comments on Cliff Kingsbury and why this system might unlock Luke's skill set. Cliff is the perfect play caller for Jaden Daniels. And the way this offense moves, if you're on the field as a receiver, you have a chance to get the ball at all times. There's a lot of opportunity there. Think about that. Kingsbury's fast-paced horizontal spread concepts are designed to get the ball into space. That's tailor-made for a quick, smart, versatile route runner like Luke McCaffrey. He might not be the biggest name in the receiver room, but in this offense, there's room for everyone to shine. So, what exactly is Luke McCaffrey's role heading into training camp? Let's look at the receiver depth chart. Deebo Samuel is your featured weapon, a yak monster who will be used all over the field. Terry McLaurin, assuming his contract situation is resolved, remains the wide receiver 1. Jahan Dodson needs a bounce-back year. Noah Brown and Michael Gallup bring veteran depth. So that makes McCaffrey, on paper, the wide receiver 5 or 6. But don't underestimate the intangibles. Luke can line up anywhere, inside, outside, backfield. He's already learning all 5 wide receiver positions, and he's not afraid to contribute on special teams, something that matters when rounding out a 53-man roster. If he shows up in camp, the Commanders will find ways to use him. Jet sweeps, option routes, gadget plays, red zone looks. The door's open. Let's not underestimate the McCaffrey family effect. Luke's brother, Christian, a top 3 player in the NFL. His dad, Ed, one of the toughest, most precise route runners of the 90s. And growing up in that household, you either become a football junkie or you get left behind. Luke became a technician, a film grinder, and a guy who understands the little things. He might not be a freak athlete, but he's incredibly fluid, reliable, and smart. And that's exactly what Cliff Kingsbury needs in his option-heavy passing tree. And here's another layer. Deebo Samuel is here now. He's a close friend of Christian. That means Luke is already entering a receiver room that feels like home. The confidence boost that gives a second-year player, huge. So, Commanders HQ fam, we gotta hear from you. Should Adam Peters pay McLaurin now and get this behind them?